Well, it's Monday, so we have an opportunity for a new week, new goals, new opportunities, new way to frame things. You know, there's been so much going on, and so good morning, everyone. Hey, how you doing? I'm Kimberly Trummel, and so for those of you who have been blessed enough to have you check into my Facebook Lives, I appreciate you. I usually try to make sure that I'm able to give something of value, and if I don't really have anything of value to say, I just don't say anything. I just want to make certain that when I speak, that there is something that is being learned, whether that happens to be from a health perspective, a real estate perspective, a leadership perspective, any of those. So welcome, good morning. We're going to wait and let a couple people get on. How is everybody today? It's Monday. We've got, good morning. We've got how many more days to the end of the month? We're almost to the end of the month, right? So talk about quite the year, right? This has been an amazing year, and I use that, actually the first couple months weren't so bad, but we've had a lot of growing, right? So as I mentioned, I do a lot of speaking, and I teach on real estate, which and I speak on health and things of that nature. But what's most interesting to me right now, and what I'm most excited about, is the ability to get some John Maxwell content in what I speak on, because I think leadership, especially in this time, is so important. It's so important. The leader's ability to bring their people through this material, through this time is a lot, right? You have to have the ability, or garner the ability, to take your people through crisis. Good morning. So basically, one of the things I've been teaching on of late is leading through crisis. I'm doing it for individuals. Hey, Mia, good morning. I'm bringing them through leading through crisis, real estate companies, mortgage companies, friends. I've got a friend in Ghana, so maybe she'll jump on. I don't know. No, they're about 6 hours ahead of us. Maybe she will. It's 3:00. But anyhow, leading is so important. So first, we had one crisis, right? What was the first crisis? It was a health crisis, right? COVID. Big deal, right? Big deal. What do we do? No one in our lifetime has ever seen anything like that. So that was our first crisis. But then right after that, what happened in tandem with that? Well, we had the financial crisis. If you think about it for a moment, the reality is a lot of people weren't able to continue to work. And those that were, they had to modify their schedules to adapt to being able to, most likely work from home remotely. So because of that, some people experienced financial hardships. So then the health crisis, which was like, whoa, what's that? And then the next crisis, that was the financial. That was like, oh, what's that? And then the other crisis we had was, the unrest that we've been experiencing. There are looters, there's protesters, there's peaceful protesters, and just like basically all of these things have caused us, crisis. They've caused us stress. So financial, emotional, divide of our nation, just lots of things that are such important conversations to have, but difficult conversations to have. As leaders, what can we do to help our people through? I know some people, good morning. I know some people, they're over large organizations. I know some people, you're a leader in your brokerage. Some people are broker owners. Some people have had to deal with all kinds of different things. And so it's now our responsibility. Well, I think as a leader, it is our responsibility to try and take what's happened and actually learn how to lead through it. So sometimes I find, giving out, sometimes it's important to slow down, to speed up, and that's Timmer will be familiar with that phrase, and I'm sure other people have heard it too. But what I wanted to call this is out of the fog, pivot, reset. Out of the fog, pivot, reset. So I don't know about you all, but the last 2 weeks of March were like, what just happened? This has got to be over with soon. This isn't really happening. I'm a baby boomer. This doesn't happen here. That's what happens other places. And then to realize, okay, wait, that's not what's happening here. So that was the last 2 weeks of March. April was like a big blur. It's like this news and these numbers, no matter what. When you woke up, you were bombarded with information. Some of it, a lot of it was challenging to absorb. So when we think about, we've got to pivot, we've got to change our posture, right? We got to get our posture. And not only that, we have to get out of the fog. So getting out of the fog, what are some of the things that you did pre-COVID that you stopped doing, that you couldn't do? For me, for one, as we had talked about during COVID, I had not been able to get my hair done. So what did I do? I did just ponytails, whatever, the natural, it didn't matter. I just wanted to look presentable. So so that said, what else couldn't I do? Couldn't get my nails done. So in the beginning of like coming out of the fog, it was like, all right, what do I do now? Do I go to the salon? Do I not go to the salon? Do I just leave it just in case we end up being sheltered in place again? What do I do? And then and then someone posted this wonderful post. I wish I could remember who it was. I think it was Grace Goral. She posted something about Little Penny, where it talks about the sky is falling. We can't walk around looking up all the time and thinking, oh my gosh, the sky's gonna fall. Yeah, we clearly are in a big shift in our world. That is so true. We've just had 4 crises, back to back. Not gonna stop. And then somehow or another, we got to come out of the fog. What is it that you used to do? One of the good things is I've had the blessing and the honor of being able to get closer to my children, hang out with them a little bit more because we were sheltered in place, couldn't go anywhere. And so, I even reached out to some relatives that live out of in other states, And so taking lemons, what do you do when you get lemons? You make lemonade. So again, an old school phrase, but old school still works. So one thing is decide to come out of the fog. Decide, I'm going to come out of this fog. I'm going to go ahead and do something. Good morning. I'm going to go ahead and do something that resembles my previous life. Of course, I'm going to make certain previous life. That sounds weird. I'm going to do something that more supports kind of like who I am. Yeah, I think everybody was, let's see, what should I say? We feel what happened, so much so. But we can't let it define us, right? We have to kind of think to ourselves, what is it that I can do to keep myself going, so I become who I need to be, so I can give out what other people need. So those of you who are in real estate, you got to plug in, and you got to unplug for a minute, to plug back in, to get started again. And then same thing, when we serve other people, it's beyond us. Sometimes there are days it's like, oh my gosh, I got to do this. But then I remember I'm living my passion, so it's okay. Everybody online, as far as I know, everybody's living their passion. And that takes courage. It's not super easy to get up every day and hit it when you're like, oh my gosh, this is going on, that's going on. But that's part of out of the fog. So what are some of the things that you did that you had to stop doing, that you can now do again? And incremental changes. I'm not telling you to be irresponsible. That's not my goal here. But in incremental changes, what can you do to make a difference? So that's coming out of the fog. Pivot. What's pivot? What direction do you want to go in? What direction do you want to go in? Are you do some introspection? Where am I? Where do I want to be? Am I where I want to be? I actually was talking to, I think it was my daughter and my sister, and I realized there was something I said that wasn't quite accurate. Now, I didn't lie. I just didn't realize that, wait a minute, what I'm saying doesn't make sense. So I had to take it out and look at it, and I talk about this often, unpacking. I had to take it out and look at it and say, what is this, and how does it fit? Does it resonate with me? Not only that, is it serving me, and is it pure? Is it true? So I had to challenge my own self on some thing that I had said, that I was like, wait a minute, this isn't accurate. It might be a utopian idea, but the reality is that it wasn't like totally accurate. So I had to make an adjustment. So pivot. So come out of the fog, pivot, reset. So what's reset? Reset is get whatever energy. Make sure you're eating right. I am so grateful that one of my friends reached out to me and asked me to health coach her again. And I'm like, oh no, I'll refer you to somebody. Don't worry, I'll have somebody else do that. And she's like, nope, I want you to coach me. And I'm like, okay, great. You know, because I had kind of sat that to the side for a little bit. But then I realized it helped me put myself back together, reset. Because I think I talked to you about, I had gained some weight. And so that helps me. Everything I do, quite honestly, it's kind of mutually beneficial. Good morning. It kind of is mutually beneficial. The weight piece, it helps me keep my weight in check. The positivity piece and the speaking and the teaching and the training, I feel I'm giving value. Actually, I'll start it with real estate, but one of my friends, Dolores Scholl, she said, Kim, you should speak. And I'm like, really? I should? I don't think so. And that was eons ago. But it turns out that people ask me to speak. I'm like, well, really? And so that was a surprise. But that is a way that I'm able to give back. And sometimes, honestly, it's a tad bit exhausting, but it's worth it. Because at the end of the day, if I can just make one person's day a little bit better, then I've done a good job, in my opinion. Because one day when I was with a company, a different real estate company, we had to come up with our mission, our vision, and I think it was mission and vision. And my mission was that whenever I interacted with people, that I wanted when I left that conversation with them, I wanted them to feel better about themselves than they did before we met. That's it. That's all I wanted. You know, whether I added value by, introducing them to a resource, or whether I helped them with a different resource, or whether it was just a, hey, how you doing? It didn't really matter. It still doesn't matter. I'm just here as a resource. Whatever way people choose to use me is great, but I am here to serve. So I think lately I was talking to a friend and I said, aim to serve, love to teach. That's me. Aim to serve. I just want to help you. Love to teach. I love to teach. Whatever it is. Health, real estate, positivity, leadership, I'm there because I just love giving out to folks. So that is my part of the reset. So out of the fog, and I'll wrap up and I'll close with this. Out of the fog. Decide to come out of the fog. Decide that you're not going to let the fog keep you. Basically, just decide that you're going to make a conscious decision to come out of the fog. Carl Jung says, until we make the unconscious conscious, it will rule our lives and we will call it fate. So we have to consciously make a decision. And I'll read that again. We have to, hey, good morning, Alex. We have to make a conscious decision to come out of the fog. Yeah, I could have stayed here and like, oh, you know what? What if I get my hair done? Or what if I do this? And what if, and the sky is falling and da-da-da. I could have been all that. But then I'd still be sitting in the same exact place that I was when we were sheltered in place. We're not sheltered in place. We have the ability to go out with whatever thought of reasonableness we think and keeping others in mind, etc., etc. But now we have an option. So if you're going to do it, of course, be responsible, but I'm sure everybody would do that anyways. I don't have to say that. But when we're thinking about coming out of the fog, and this is what Carl Jung said, I'm going to say it again. Until we make the unconscious conscious, it will rule our lives, and we will call it fate. That's Carl Jung. So we have to make our unconscious shelter in place. We have to get out of our unconscious shelter in place. We have to be careful, and I was a psych major in college. There's something called, what is it called? Not useless. It's when you learned helplessness. Learned helplessness. I believe that's the correct term. I was a psych major, and it's been a few years since I've been in college. But learned helplessness says, oh, I can't do anything about this. I'm not even going to try. So I may as well just keep doing what I was doing while we were sheltered in place. Nope. Find yourself again so you can look in the mirror and you can say, hey, I remember you. For many people, it was getting a haircut after 3 months. For other people, it was different things. Whatever your thing is, come out of the fog. Pivot. Make a change. Decide which direction you want to go in. And then reset. Whatever that is, and take whatever energy, whatever lessons we learned from COVID. And everybody learned something. And again, 4 crises, there's something to be learned from all of them, but right now I'm just talking about COVID. But take whatever we learned have the ability to turn it around. I know when I speak to the companies on leadership, I've been doing Leading Through Crisis with many, and I'm doing them by Zoom. I actually have a friend in Ghana that I'm going to be doing one for her company and some other people, but it's a 20-30 minute free thing that I do. But it kind of helps leaders remember how to resync with their team. Not to say that you haven't been synced, but think about it for a moment. For many people, hey, good morning. For many people, they haven't been able to see their team. So I, for one, had to learn how to do Zoom. I didn't know how to do that. I have a ladies' coffee, a free ladies' coffee where everybody gets together, and I actually have different speakers come and speak. And, I had to learn how to do that on Zoom. It was very hard. For me, it was hard. So out of the fog, pivot, reset. And then I'm sure we'll have to make adjustments again later because life is full of adjustments. But those are my thoughts today. Pivot. Nope. Out of the fog, out of order. Out of the fog, pivot, reset. And just go out there and make somebody's day, because you never know what people are going through. And you could make someone's difference, a difference in someone's day just by saying hi. That's it. Just by saying hi. Sometimes, good morning, FD. That's basically sometimes all people need, or liking their post, or offering to share with them whatever your talent is. Doesn't mean they're going to accept it. That's not the point. You just share them. You share it. And if they see value in it, or if they need it, guess what? They'll respond. If they don't need value in it, oh well, you've made a new friend. At the end of the day, if we all just continue to look at each other as friends, partners in this thing called life, on this place called Earth that we live on, wow, what a difference that can make. So, thank you for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm missing some of you in real life, face to face. I've had the blessing and the honor to work with some of you, and truly just glad that I can still create community, or we can still create community by Facebook and Zoom, and even an old-fashioned telephone call. So everybody have a great day. Be good to yourself, be good to others, and be well and stay well. And that's all I got for today. Take care now. Talk to you another time. Bye-bye.